Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is Pass. And you're probably wondering, will I give it a pass? Well, looking at those little sprites, no, that's actually looking pretty cool. And you look on the bottom right-hand corner, and they actually represent the credits, not by saying the word credits, but by actually having a little coin there. Surprisingly enough, I haven't seen that in any other arcade games. That's a neat little trick. So already, we're off to a good start. So, your first instinct, Dots, little Pac-Man-ish person. Oh no, it's Pac-Man! But it's not, because you actually control his tongue. You don't control the guy, actually. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, bombs are good, right. I could guess that. So you don't get, oh my god, that's gonna die. Oh, there we go. So yeah, you don't control him as such. You control his little tongue, which, that's actually a really neat twist. Hey. I mean, it makes the game, I don't know if it makes it harder. It makes it a little bit more about timing and how reckless are you versus how well can you kind of figure out the enemy patterns? How well can you come up with a standardized way of dodging things? Ooh, I wonder what... oh. Ah. So, the way the control really works is... you press inward... oh, cool, continues. So, you press towards the middle of the maze to send out your tongue, and then afterwards you control your tongue. And your tongue automatically goes into, well, I mean, the town's arranged in a bit of a grid system, so the tongue follows the grid. And it's a little faster in retreating, which is pretty sweet, but at the same time, you still have to retreat it like bit by bit. Oh, come on, Porygon, get out of here. And that's a wrap. Boo-hoo. Oh, really? You were doing so well. You had so many original aspects. Now you have to rip off the Pac-Man ghosts? No, but this game... nice. Oh. Oh, interesting. So you just press first button, and then you retreat your tongue automatically. I was doing it the hard way this whole time. And so you don't even need to, retract your tongue to retrieve the pellets. It kind of happens automatically. No. Oh. Can't use that little bomb there? It's just waiting for me. Oh, well. Oh, maybe I have to sneak out and... no? Like, sneak my tongue out of the maze. How long can this go? Gosh. But I mean, all of that being said, no, this is a neat way to do a little puzzle game. And I mean, it's actually, quite frankly, it's a brilliant way to take a bit of Pac-Man, but then add your own spin to it. I mean, this game, I mean, it looks like Pac-Man, so you've got, like, the people in the arcade saying, oh, hey, that game looks like Pac-Man, looks like it's worth a go. But you've got unique gameplay mechanics, so it's like people aren't just like, oh, it's just Pac-Man, why should I even bother? Oh. And there's a little bit of risk versus reward, but at the same time, you got infinite credits, so you can treat it as seriously as you want to. And actually, I may not have said this, but this is a Korean game. And I mean, I know I've been down on Korean games a little bit, but that's just because I was comparing it against, like, Vamp 1/2, Senjin... well, I did not anticipate the music being this loud. Nor this catchy, though. But yeah, so far I've been a little down on Korean games, but that's also because it was, like... Vamp 1/2, Senjin Guardian Storm. Now, Senjin Guardian Storm looked pretty cool, actually. And you see, they're starting to make the game a little bit harder just because you can't, there were less ways to get your tongue in there. it's pretty hard to talk about a game like this without making at least half a dozen innuendos. But you see down here in this bottom, like, there are only 2 entrances on the entire bottom. So they've upped the difficulty quite dramatically. And, unfair or not, you basically just have to wait for the other enemies to just kind of finish doing their business. And then you can get your tongue in there and mop up. You know, for some reason I was thinking the sprites just kind of reminded me of Phantasy Star. And yet now we've got this music that's really reminding me of Phantasy Star. I don't know, just a weird thing that you wouldn't normally associate with an arcade game. Okay, how... There's like no guns or anything. My tongue doesn't. Oh, there we go. Oh, seriously? You just kill an enemy and then he's back? I feel like they've made it a little too cheap with the with how they did it, where it's like you really have to wait for the enemies. And I mean, it's not a perfect gameplay mechanic. You do have to wait for the enemies a little bit. And in arcade games, I feel like, if not necessarily action all the time, at least you should be able to dictate when the action is and when it isn't. Like, you should be able to play the arcade game at your own speed. But, I mean, again, there are exceptions to even that, too. Because sometimes you want to play an arcade game at super high speed. And, oh, I see, those little P's at the top are probably just health, or lives left. Alright, so in the past I've been a little down on Korean games, but that's basically because I was basing it off of Senjin Guardian Storm and Vamp 1/2. 2 games that, well, they weren't that good. But this one, and even the Semicom games, are really kind of making me think that, Korean, those were just some bad apples. Oh, wow. So I guess to compensate for that last stage where the music was a little too hot and heavy, now they've just kind of completely muted it. At least I'm assuming nothing's gone wrong. I mean, there are still a few couple little noises here and there, I think. I got hit and it fizzled a little. Oh, come on. That was mean and you know it, arcade game. Alright, let's just do a little more precision licking. And... Tuzza! Will this next stage have music? Place your bets. It was looking pretty bad for a second there, though. Oh gosh. Because, I mean, again, everything's a little bit tied to, well, no. Everything's a little bit by, okay. Your tongue moves by grids, so it's a little hard to, get these things. And am I collecting them, or are they disappearing right before I get to them? Because if it's the latter, I'm gonna be very disappointed. Oh, there are only 2 entrances to this maze? Oh my gosh. It's like I'm a rat in a maze, just trying to find the way out. You know, there aren't a whole lot of maze arcade games, like arcade games that are just straight up solving mazes. And I mean, yeah, solving mazes isn't necessarily the most fascinating of things to do, but I feel at least some ballsy 70s arcade developer had to at least try it. And already we're kind of delving into sameness. I mean, at least with Pac-Man and its gameplay mechanic, it got harder as you went along. I mean, things went faster and things happened more. But this game, Because, I mean, level 2 was pretty hard, or level 3, I think. But then it seems to have regressed in hardness or difficulty, so I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Although, to their credit, they have been... Ooh, okay, name entry screen. Interesting decision to have the long row sort of style. But moving left and right, it's pretty responsive. And you get 6. You get 6 characters. So I could even put in Ashgabat, maybe. Still, that was pass. Did it pass the test? Well, I mean, I think overall it's going to feel a little bit repetitive, but at the same time, I mean, it was a nice, decent puzzle game, and it brought something new to the genre. It brought its own new, interesting gimmick, and I feel like if they had made it harder, or I also think too, like, you never know, they could have made the next couple of stages devilishly hard. They could have been hiding all their difficulties, so who's to say that it won't get any harder? So, I mean, but that being said, I mean, you probably shouldn't have so many stages that feel all kind of the same. Like, the gameplay, it starts out nice and novel, but it doesn't really change anything, and there's a lot of waiting involved, so not the perfect game, but it'll pass. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.